you ever walked into your house and looked around and just felt blah, maybe even a little discouraged or sad? Most of us think we just have to try harder, clean more, or finally get our act together. But what if the real problem isn't lack of motivation, but actually that your environment is zapping your energy? Today, I'm sharing 5 surprising reasons why your house might be draining you and super simple ways to break the cycle. So we're gonna start with number 1, which is that your home is not a reflection of you, but the season that you just came through. Did you know that clutter isn't actually a character flaw? And so it's easy, I think, especially as women, to use the current state of our home to judge our success as a mom, wife, homemaker. I think they generally have been linked and just go hand in hand. But I want to help you separate that today because it's actually not true. What if instead we looked at the state of our home simply as a reflection of the season that we've just been through? So first, I think it's really important to pay attention to what you're saying to yourself when you look around your home. If every time you walk in, you're thinking, I'm so behind and I'm so lazy and I'm so unorganized, that's actually going to affect your mood more than the clutter itself. And so this is something that I have experienced firsthand over the past year. I've called myself a minimalist for 10 years. I got rid of so much stuff. It made our household run so much better. And then over the past year or two, when life got lifey, as we like to say, I was getting really behind in my to-do items. My email was a mile deep. Even spaces that I'd normally keep really tidied up because that just feels so good to me were starting to get cluttered. And it was very natural for me to just get hard on myself and be like, oh, see, Dawn, you're still that messy person. Things haven't really changed. Look, you thought you had all these systems and you teach other people these systems that are supposed to make life so much better and easier. Like, what do you actually know? And I was like, ugh, no, gross. That's not actually true. What it was actually saying was, oh my goodness, Dawn, you have gone through a really hard season. And so yeah, it's pretty natural that tasks were piling up, maybe some clutter was piling up because you were having to put all of your emotional energy and bandwidth, which was significantly diminished, into the most important things right now. And so you're not lazy or unorganized. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just that we couldn't do it all at the time. And so as we come through those seasons, though, we have a lot of good data to work with because now I can look back and see like what systems worked and what systems were breaking down. You know, my action bin actually worked really well. I still knew where all the most important things were. My uniform was working awesome. It really helped me to realize that there is a difference between mess and clutter. Things were just out of place. They needed to be tidied up and put away. It was not the heavy lifting of decluttering that I'd had to do multiple years prior. And so again, if your house is messy and cluttered right now and you're just struggling to stay on top of it, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just showing the season that you've come through. So let's not be so hard on ourselves. And what can we do? Well, like I said, this is giving you really good data to work with. As you have come through this season, what stuff has helped you and what has been a hindrance? What has made your life harder? And now be ruthless with decluttering it. If these things are not adding value, let them go. Because the next time life gets lifey, if you have your house decluttered and simplified, your house is going to support you through that season instead of bringing you down even further. All right, so number 2, your home is not set up for resting and recharging. I think I love, my favorite word to describe a home that is set up for that is haven. But for most of us, our homes are not a haven right now, and that's definitely leading to those like ugh and blah feelings. So you've probably heard of this term now. It looks like hygie, but it's hygge. It's pronounced hygge, right? And so this is a Danish concept that's all about creating a warm atmosphere and enjoying the simple pleasures of life. Think cozy socks, snuggly blankets, a candle, warm cup of tea. There's actually something about holding something warm that helps calm our body. So it's less about the stuff and more about the feeling that your space invokes. And I thought this was so interesting. In the science of a happy home, they say that relaxed spaces help us switch off and feel at ease. And 90% of those that say they're most satisfied with their homes say their space helps them feel relaxed. And so let's look at a few hygge principles that we can incorporate. Again, not big changes, but a few things that we can do to make our home feel more restful and relaxing. So the first is to create a designated cozy corner. So again, most of us don't have the energy right now to make over our whole house, but we can find one corner to create a little reprieve or getaway. So what you want to do is make sure you have a comfy place to sit. You might want to add a throw pillow, right? Or two, a cozy blanket. You might have a little side table that you can put a candle on where you can set your cup of tea, maybe a book that you're reading right now. So again, you can just pick one corner of your home, living room, bedroom, a space that you can set up just for yourself. Another way is to declutter just one flat surface. So we have to remember that visual noise equals mental noise, especially when we're already feeling a little bit overwhelmed. So here again, you can choose one space like your nightstand, kitchen counter, coffee table, and you want to clear everything off of it and then add back just one calming item like a candle, a photo you love, or a small plant. This creates a visual exhale and helps your brain associate that space with peace instead of pressure. And then another is to incorporate natural textures. So Hygge encourages bringing the outdoors in, not by piling up nature-themed decor, but through subtle things like a woven basket, a wooden tray, or a soft cotton blanket. These natural textures help ground us and signal coziness without adding clutter. So again, the goal is not perfection, but it's to make your space whisper, "You can rest here." Now, something else you might be telling yourself is that you're not good at managing your household, your family's schedule and meal planning and cleaning routines and chore tasks and all the things that go into it. I don't think that's true. I just don't think you've had the right tool or system. So today's video is sponsored by the Skylight Calendar, and this thing is awesome. Skylight Calendar is a smart touchscreen calendar that helps keep the whole family organized with schedules, chore charts, dinner planning, and customizable lists. And after trying a bunch of different systems that weren't working, we've had our Skylight Calendar for about 4 months now because we needed one central place where everything got entered, and I just love that we could do it from our phone with the really awesome app that comes with it, or you can enter things directly on the screen as well. Now, it was really important to me that it would already sync with my digital calendar. So it syncs with all of the popular calendars like Google, Apple, and Outlook. The feature that I did not think I would like as much as I have is actually the chore charts. I love that you can make a separate list for each child. You can set recurring tasks. And what's kind of fun is when they get them all checked off, there's even exploding emojis. And you can also create custom lists for groceries, to-dos, and more. All of the lists are accessible for all members at home, on your calendar, and on the go in the Skylight app. And with the Calendar Plus subscription, you'll get a full weekly meal planning tab with recipe storage. It even maps out your weekly meals by generating meal plans based on the preferences you give it. And they have Sidekick, which magically imports dates. You can even take a photo of a flyer and it'll enter the details for you. And another fun feature with the Calendar Plus subscription is that you can upload thousands of photos too that will cycle on the screen when your calendar isn't in use. Get organized in 2025 with the Skylight Calendar. Use my code MinimalMom30 at the link in the description or scan the QR code to save $30 off your 15-inch calendar, available globally. All right, number 3, your house feels demanding instead of inviting. And so we talked a little bit about clutter with the last point, but I want to specifically talk about things that are unfinished, like unfinished projects or things that require attention, like bills to be paid or things to be sent back. And so half-done projects or broken items actually create a sense of overwhelm. We've talked about the idea of the silent to-do list before, and it's this idea that every item in our home is sending out a message that says, you know, take care of me, wash me, put me away, pick me up, don't forget about me, don't let me get wrecked or anything like that. And so every item in our house is sending some kind of message to us. But these unfinished projects and tasks, I think, actually vocalize a little bit louder. Like they are yelling at us, like, why haven't you got to me? Why are you so lazy? Why are you always behind? Why are you watching Netflix instead of finishing me? And the truth is, I am watching Netflix because my brain is trying to escape my current reality, right? If you find yourself procrastinating and wasting time, there's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is doing what it is designed to do, and that is to take the easy route, to find a place where it can seek some kind of solitude or rest, right? And if our house is yelling at us with all of these things that we need to do, whether it's the dishes or an unfinished project, of course our brain is just going to want to retreat. So often we're like, I'm so lazy. No, you're not lazy at all. Your brain is doing what it is designed to do. And so what can we do to feel more motivated in our home and less like our home is dragging us down? Well, permission to let go of all of the unfinished projects. I know I'm super crafty and capable and handy and all that. I can fix most things, right? I grew up on a farm. My dad was like, girls can do everything boys can do. And he taught us how to use tools and drive tractors and fix things and whatnot, right? Well, That's great. But also I can look at anything and be like, I can fix that. I can alter that. I can make it better. I can reuse it. You know, trash to treasure for sure. But in my current season of life right now, I also have 4 kids and they require a lot of time and energy too. And so I don't have the capacity to finish things and alter things and do the things that I would have in the past. I only have the time just to stay up on our highly simplified house, right? And so permission to let go of the unfinished projects. Now, if you're not quite ready just to toss them in the garbage or donate them and move on, then try putting a timetable on it. So get a Post-it note, put it on it and say, this needs to be finished by June 15th or it's gone. And also consolidate these things. So make sure you only have one spot in your house where you have unfinished projects, things waiting to be done. I also mentioned my action bin a little bit ago. Have one spot where all of the bills and household action items go so that you know that they're there, anything important is there, and they're not spread around the house or they're being forgotten about. Because again, this idea that we're trying to create a space that is peaceful and restful and a place where we can recharge. And so a lot of these things are working against us and we don't even realize it. Number 4, why your house might feel depressing is that the atmosphere is working against you. And so lighting is so important. In fact, if you were to go to interior design school, lighting is one of the things they're going to talk about the most. And I got to visit with a friend out of the Twin Cities who's an interior designer. And she says one of the first things she often does in a home when she goes in for a consultation is to open the curtains and blinds, let the natural light in, and see how the space feels differently. She said sometimes we get in the habit of just leaving curtain and blinds closed because we don't want to go through the effort of opening them each morning. And she's like, you are completely missing out if you are not letting in as much natural light as possible. And in fact, the Journal of Environmental Psychology found that lighting has the power to enhance mood and even brain function, especially in older adults. We joke in our membership group that we're solar powered. Like when the sun is shining and it's bright, we're motivated and energized and want to get things done. And then on like a gray, gloomy day, we're just like, well, who wants to do anything? So sometimes we have to fake it in our home. And I love the Hygge principle too that talks about layering lighting. And so you might want to have some like overhead, but more like can lights that are dimmable. You want to have lamps and you know me, I'm always like, oh, lamps are kind of visual clutter. But she said lighting is so important. And that's a Hygge principle too. They said instead of relying on bright overhead lights, add lamps, string lights, or even battery operated candles. Warm light instantly makes a room feel more relaxing and signals to your brain that it's time to wind down. And so the lighting is so important. And again, it is something can be a kind of a simple change to make our space feel better. Also, this is fascinating. Bad smells or stale air. This is a quote from A Monk's Guide to a Clean House and Mind, and it says, regardless of how much you clean things on the surface, if the air around you is stale, your mind will also feel this way. And I know Marie Kondo, she's a big fan, I think, of opening up windows in the morning to just let some fresh air in, even if you live in a cold weather climate like Minnesota. But also something I had heard her say one time is that if you have like a disagreement with a loved one, something negative happen, you want to change the air. And so you can do this again by opening windows or lighting a candle or incense. But she used this idea of changing the air. And I was like, wow, I think there is actually something to that. There is something about just opening the windows and letting a fresh air in, regardless of what the weather is like outside, that really can make a big difference in how our home feels. And then lastly, number 5, when everything's special, nothing's special. And so I've been, renting this Airbnb to come to video, and it's reinforcing so many of these principles that we're talking about. It's not cluttered. It's white and bright. It's an older home. You can't really tell in the video, but it's far from perfect, right? Floors are uneven, trim doesn't match, but they just painted everything white, and it's so refreshing and bright. But also they've been very strategic with the artwork and the little bit of decor that they have out. Because when we have too many things visually, our brain doesn't focus on any of them. And so if we have some special things, special artwork, special sentimental items, we want to clear out everything else around it and just display that one item. This makes it so that is a center of focus. We can see it. It can invoke the happy memories or that we want it to, or some kind of feel good feeling, because we can focus on it. Many of us just have too many things and our brain never focuses on it. And instead of reading it as something special special or something that we want to use as a memory jogger, it just feels like clutter. And again, that clutter is causing us to feel more stressed and anxious in our own home. That's the opposite of what we're going for. So if you have things that are special, let's think about how we can make them stand out by removing the other stuff around them. And not only is it going to make that item truly special, I think you're also going to find a lot more peace in your home. And so the main idea that I want you to take away today is this idea of intentionally curating your space, both for restfulness and also for reconnection, but also to spotlight and highlight happy memories so that when we walk into our space, even if we have had a crazy town day, that we do feel like we can exhale, we can let our guard down, and we can feel safe and secure in our own space. You know, I didn't mention, this thought just came to mind. Also be really aware of things on the floor. I've shared this before. I can't find the research, so take it with a grain of salt, but things on the floor are very unsettling to our brain. You know, again, remember, our brain is designed for safety, keeping us safe, and it's always scanning for threats, especially down low, like what could come up and surprise us. And so things on the floor are very unsettling to our brain. So, you know, I know how it goes, like kitchens, living rooms, maybe there's pet things or cases of water or extra things you went to Costco and they got set out or whatnot. But really take a look around and say, are there any things that are sitting on the floor that I can move, relocate, get up off the floor? And I think you'll notice that that feels better to your brain as well. All right. That was just a last final thought, but I do think it's an important one as well. But I do want your house to just feel good and to be a safe place for you and your family. So I definitely think these things play into it. Well, and if you're realizing like, oh, I just got to do more decluttering to get my house to feel restful and relaxing and recharging, I get it, and I understand that, so don't worry, I have you covered. So hopefully you'll subscribe so that we can spend more time together. If you need even more support and accountability, then check out our membership group as well. I'm in there every single day, working right alongside of you with motivation and ideas and permission and all the things that you need to get your house decluttered this summer, and it would be fun to have you in there as well. But I love you, I hope you have a really good day, and I'll see you again soon.